Following a presentation from Danny Moore, a marketing executive, Nissan's motorsport division set up the GT Academy. They sought to scout out talented Gran Turismo players and turn them into professional racers. Danny then hired former driver-turned-mechanic Jack Salter to become the coach of the gamers. Jack was hesitant at first, however eventually he gave in due to his frustration with Nicholas Cappa's conceit. Jan Martin Burrow, a Welsh teenage retail worker and devoted fan of the simulator, was determined to pursue his dream of becoming a race car driver even though his ex-footballer dad, Steve, was against it. The next day, Jan finds out that he's chosen to compete in the qualifying race for the GT Academy. On the eve of the race, Jan's brother Kobe invites him to a party, and they take their dad's car. Once there, Jan meets a young woman named Audrey, and the two of them hit it off. Once the police arrived, the gathering was broken up and Jan drove away as their friends were being stopped. Though the brothers managed to make an escape, they were caught coming back home by their father. The following morning, Jan is taken to his father's workplace in an effort to learn a valuable lesson. Nevertheless, he departs early to take part in the qualifying race, which he succeeds in winning. This culminates in him getting accepted into GT Academy. At the campus, Jack tests the players in a range of challenges, eventually narrowing it down to 5 from the original 10 participants. During one of the races, Jan has an accident with Jack in the car. She insists that the brakes were glazed and, to Jack's surprise, this was later confirmed through analysis. The remaining 5 then compete in a final race to decide which one of them will represent Nissan. Jan barely comes out ahead against Maddie Davis in the race, but Danny believes Maddie should be the more appealing choice. Blog from a business perspective. Despite this, Jack picks Jan much to Danny's surprise. Jan has been informed that if he manages to place 4th or better in any of the qualifying events, he will be rewarded with an FIA license as well as a contract from Nissan. After his first race at Red Bull Ring, he finished last after Nicholas caused him to spin. Although he showed progress in the following races, he failed to finish the penultimate one. His last qualifying race was in Dubai, and unfortunately, Nicholas crashed while taking a corner too quickly. Although the wreckage of the accident breaks his windscreen, Jan manages to gain 4th place and finally secure his license. Afterwards, assisted by Danny and Jack, he jets off to Tokyo to sign the contract, and utilizes his signing bonus to bring his beloved Audrey with him. On the trip, they begin to develop a connection. Jan's inaugural race since signing the contract was at the challenging Nürburgring. He got off to a great start, and maintained a high position for a time. But at the Flugplatz corner his vehicle's front end suddenly rose, crashing into a baffle, and catapulting into a packed spectator area. Jan is airlifted to the Nürburgring Medical Center, and upon learning the news in hospital, much to his horror, he discovers a spectator had been killed in the crash. Jack, feeling guilty for a spectator's death, reluctantly heads back to the Nürburgring. On the way, he confesses that an accident at the 24 Hours of Le Mans had resulted in the death of another driver, which prompted his retirement from racing. An inquiry exonerates Jan of any wrongdoings, but public opinion starts to waver regarding autonomous drivers. Therefore, Danny decides the best way to demonstrate their potential is to compete in the Le Mans race and finish on the podium. To that end, Danny brings Maddie and GT Academy contestant, Antonio Cruz, to join Jan as the members of this 3-person team. On race day, Jan's dad apologized for not being initially supportive of his passions. At the beginning of the race, Jan was shaken by the sight of another driver's vehicle crash and burst into flames. Jack, however, lifted his spirits by playing Songbird and Orinoco Flow through the car's communication system. Jan had also used this upbeat music in his practice sessions to stay motivated. Maddie and Antonio both completed their initial shifts without incident. However, Antonio needed to be brought in early during his last session after experiencing cramps. Sadly, Jan lost a few positions when a wheel nut became loose in the pit area. Jan deviates from the racing lines he learned playing Gran Turismo, thus allowing him to move up positions and breaking the competition's lap record in the process. On the last lap, Jan and Nicholas are neck and neck, with Jan barely taking the lead right at the finish line and gaining a podium finish for Nissan. In the epilogue, it is revealed that Jan Martin Burrow had taken part in more than 200 races and even served as his own stunt double for the movie.